Yeah, it's always like that, right?
No, this is I just saw a tweet here. Mark guy's like, they are crazy. What am I seeing? Of the Aurora Borealis. Where is he?
Right.
He's in Kentucky. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, they're seeing them all the way down to Florida, I just saw.
Yeah, Florida. Turks and Caicos was the last tweet I just saw. So that's pretty far
Turks and
south.
Caicos. That's
Yeah.
pretty far south for Northern Lights. This is going to be a good show tonight, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
I'm
Like
almost ready. Just got the
every tweet is a Aurora picture right now, pretty much.
yeah, tomorrow's going to be one of those things, eh? Look at the Facebook feed is just going to be full of everyone's pictures.
Oh, I like it though. Better
Yeah.
than the other stuff.
Well,
Other
yeah, really.
going around lately, but
And there'll be people who are all like, you know, the
mm,
government made the Northern Lights
oh yeah.
to convince us of climate change and ruin the, I don't know. I don't understand their line of thinking. Like, where does it go? What's the point of their.
Oh,
It's been a frustrating week of. Hey, here comes Hildy. Brandon Hauk here, and I'm Joey Only. We're a Meteorological Report, just getting set up here for the showtime. I'm trying to share the link around and set up the cover image so it looks all awesome. Tonight's episode going to be all about hurricanes, all about aurora borealis, all about Thanksgiving weather. So it's going to be a good one tonight, and I'm just going to be another minute here before I'm completely done and ready to go. But Brandon,
yep. I'm here.
say something for about a minute and a half, will you?
Minute and a half. Minute and a half. Minute and a half. Okay. So I've a big schedule coming up in the next 24 hours at least, because I'm a busy guy, and today I'm gonna check out the Northern Lights after my Brandon Hauk report. Slip out early and check them out, see if I get some pictures because I got to get to bed early tonight. Because tomorrow, once again, I get to host the morning show again in the morning. And
It's
then
going to be your show now, man.
pretty close to it. Yeah,
Just give it to
giving
you.
away tickets to Jordan Davis tomorrow. That's gonna be fun. So
What's a Jordan Davis?
a concert in Calgary at the Scotiabank Saddle Dome. So
Is that like new country?
I guess sort of newish. Yeah, he's he's pretty popular, I guess.
I don't know. Doesn't sound like no outlaw country to me.
Outlaw, maybe. And then
Never heard that name before.
so I gotta give those tickets away. I know a lot of people at the trade show last week, and a lot of people came up to me. He's like, "Who's that guy?" I don't know. Tickets, free tickets to his concert. Okay, cool. But Dash, yeah, I forget who else gonna be there, anyways. But that's going on next week. So the concert's next week. So we'll give those tickets away, and then yeah, then do the show, and then tomorrow I get to come in to the well, I go to the Brooks Hotel, and they're offering me a free meal. So this is awesome. So I go in there, and then I come back to the studio, do a hockey broadcast, Brooks Bandits, and I believe we're playing Spruce Grove Saints tomorrow night. And then after that, I get to go back to the Brooks Hotel, 9:30 to judge karaoke.
Oh, brutal. Brutal. There is a 1 minute.
Played used to be good old fashioned wood.
There's Joe Bowen.
And,
Good old fashioned
cleared
wood.
up by the Leafs out at center
He
ice.
is the best.
Devils back in their own zone.
There ain't a radio
Hughes
guy out there.
onto the
as good as
wing.
Joe
It's
Bowen.
fired into the Toronto zone.
Been listening to this guy.
McCabe brings it back, sends it into the far corner.
Since I was
Trying
a
to get
little
free of it
kid,
there is Meyer. Rounded the near
guys
side for
called it
Nico Hischier.
4,500
Hischier
games.
holds, gets it back along the boards to the blue line. Hamilton just did keep it in.
Leafs 4,
Onto the far
New
side.
Jersey
Marner
2, playing against
tipping
their
it,
old
but it
coach.
doesn't get out. Here's
Hank
Hughes
Wiestra.
working back to the point with less than a minute to go. Hamilton shot in traffic, deflected wide of the goal.
Looks like
Round
this
back
game's
to the
gonna
net.
be a win. and I can let
Hischier
it
trying to
go.
get to it. Leafs Matthews
4-2,
against
less
the
than a minute
boards,
to go.
getting some help from Tanev. Matthews gets a look at the net, gets wide out at center, and shoots it wide of the goal.
Just finish it.
69 goals a year ago. And the
Just
most
finish it.
even strength.
Hank showing
but
up
that
now. Hank
time,
Leistra,
from
Storm
about
Chaser from Saskatchewan. We got Hilton
120
Donaldson
feet or
up
so.
there, and
Just
went wide of the
good
goal.
friend from Grassy Plains.
by the way, if I'm
British
not 100%
Columbia.
sure, but I believe carbon or
Brandon House
composite
down there in
sticks,
Brooks, Alberta. I'm Joey.
their carbon fiber sheets impregnated with partially cured resin.
That's what I thought.
That's just my best guess.
Come on,
Well, at
drop
least
the
you can read.
Oh, that's raisin.
Oh, raisins. Raisins?
That's not resin.
They got raisins in this stick? We got a timeout being called here by Sheldon Keefe and his coaching staff.
Raisins in the
29.
sticks.
29 seconds left. That's it. It's 4-2. They're winning. I'm letting it go. So you know what I got here? So I'm still a little bit sick. You know what I got here, Brandon? You ever seen this before? This is mathematical modeling of tornadoes and squall storms.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. I've seen something like that along the lines there. Yes.
You know, what is the mathematical limits to what a thunderstorm can do? What's the mathematical limits? You know, there are limits, right? When you can only, if you add this much energy with, you know, this much conditions, you're going to get this range of possibility, right? And
It's
that's
like
what we're
baking
looking
a
at.
pie, you know? You have all the ingredients there. If you're missing any of those ingredients, the pie's not going to taste that good. And
And there's an
kinda-
interesting reason why I'm highlighting this article, for example, and maybe in a second here I'll go back to it. But just to give some people some ideas of like the kind of thinking it goes into what is actually a research paper, the kind of math, the kind of knowledge and information that it takes, you know, and you can just say, bunk, and because you can't understand it or refuse to, or don't have the time to, or whatever, or don't care to, whatever your choice is. You know, people who are out there doing weather, you got to learn a lot of smart stuff to be good at this game, right? So this is a very long research paper. This is what research papers actually look like. It's not a matter of sharing a meme or, you know, this is real research. This is what real research looks like. But here's what I'm getting to the point of. So we're talking about energy potential, you know, when you make calculations. And here's, you know, what is your energy potential? How do you measure? What do you compare energy to? And this is important because, you know, we could talk about a hurricane and its energy potential, but there was a lot of things that happened before the hurricane even happened. The outer band of the hurricane came through, Hurricane Milton, and it produced, when it hit sort of this dry area in southern Florida, a lot of very violent tornadoes. What's the energy output of just one tornado, right? And when we're talking about that kind of energy, we're talking about nuclear bomb with 20,000 tons of TNT. You know, in order to grasp an amount of energy that we can even start to talk in, like, oh, it's 10 of these units. You know, we need a unit to agree on. That's something that's reasonable, something that's within our imagination. So it's not just like a whole bunch of numbers, you know, 23 numbers long, you know, just something that's comparable for us. So we're talking about the power of TNT, 20,000 tons of it, the power of a nuclear bomb. You know, when you think about a hurricane, just a large scale hurricane, you could be talking about on a Hiroshima bomb worth of equivalent every, I forget what the calculation was, something like 3 seconds. For a category 5, you might be talking numbers of Hiroshimas a second, right? Now, why am I bringing this up? Because people seem to have this crazy idea going on right now that we are controlling the climate and we are controlling weather in order to create climate change. And no one can give me a good reason why we're trying to convince you there's climate change. You know, it's like, they're just crazy, mad leftists who want to convince you. No, this is science papers that take a lot of research and time. And we know that a hurricane is not something you can just draw up. So you're talking about, I had a calculation somewhere on another page. I've lost it now. I could probably look it up here really quickly, but we're talking about a hurricane using the energy equivalent of the entire output of what we're creating ourselves, on Earth. A large hurricane like that, like when Milton comes through, the amount of energy it's using is probably more than all energy that humans are creating combined. How are we going to find the energy to create a hurricane and move it around and direct it? For some reason you can't explain why we'd want to destroy our own cities, right? There is truth that this is a man-made situation. Yes, there is, and we've known about it for a long time. This is from Harvard University, this article. Research shows a company modeled and predicted global warming with shocking skill and accuracy starting in the 1970s. What company would that be? Exxon disputed climate findings for years, despite having internal papers by their own scientists that shockingly modeled the rate of climate change. They said by the year 2000, there will be this much change. The tipping point will be about here. They knew. And they spent billions of dollars to make you doubt this and to convince you that I'm the enemy. Billions. Billions so that they could make trillions of dollars. And every time you sit there and talk about a conspiracy theory, you're letting these guys off the hook. And not only that, you're saying crazy shit that people are suffering in Florida right now. And you're sitting there, oh, it's just all the government doing it to them. Even the worst governor you could think of down there in Florida, DeSantis, the guy's a complete knob, is doing everything that you would expect somebody to do. Because it doesn't matter about what his politics are compared to mine when there's a disaster happening and people are dying. This could have been a much worse storm. What we just had could have been much worse. We're going to be talking about the storm tonight. We're going to have Chris Calais showing up closer to 7:40. Meteorologist Chris Calais down in Portland. I believe Mark Ingalls is coming. Meteorologist Mark. I don't know if we're going to get Justin from Weather Center Manitoba because he's freaking out about the Northern Lights right now. And that's understandable. In fact, we could have a look at that right now. We got a crazy... What do you got to say about the Northern Lights, Brandon? What's going on here? Hank, I don't know if he's on yet.
Yeah, I saw that at least KP8 last I saw it, and it is it's happening. And we have Northern Lights visible as far south as Turks and Caicos, Texas, the Bahamas, and Florida. So
they're seeing the Northern Lights in Florida. Can you imagine you got no power after a storm like that, and you look up and you see the Northern Lights?
That's
like, what
wild.
an incredible planet.
Oh yeah.
I don't see him yet from Saskatchewan.
That's why I can't see you. You're in the dark, Hank.
In the dark.
So what kind of storm is this, guys? Like, what happened here to make this happen?
Well,
X-flare.
X-flare.
Describe for
the
humans that are watching. Sorry.
That's all it is an X-flare from the sun, a very strong solar flare.
It's like
an X-flare, so it's like a kind of like an ex-wife of the sun, and it's gone.
There have been multiple X-flares also, so I mean multiple solar flares. I don't mean multiple X-flares. There have been.
I used to be a flare, but now I'm an X-flare. You know, just
used to be a normal flare, but now I'm extraordinary.
Yeah, there you go. And hey, you can call yourself whatever you want, Flare, as long as you don't disrupt the internet while we're trying to make a show here tonight. And here's the bad thing, Hank, is I want you to keep seeing no Northern Lights, right? Because the second you start seeing them, you're gonna be like, wow, the Northern Lights are out. Then everybody who's watching the stream is gone. So just keep reporting there's no Northern Lights, everybody.
Okay, all right.
Until like 5 minutes to 8 my time. Ronnie Gregg's coming back. He's just checking in now. So that is going on right now.
As for doubters and people with all these wacko theories, whack jobs with wacko theories, I saw a crazy one where this gal was putting angry face comments in Facebook, angry face emojis on a whole bunch of aurora borealis photos. She'd put it on every single photo. Somebody would post 15 photos of aurora borealis and Alberta aurora chasers, and she'd put her angry face on all 15 photos.
What a ridiculous human.
So I looked up, why is she so mad about people posting aurora borealis photos? And now I saw her theory on her own Facebook page. Her theory is auroras are extraordinarily strong lately with red colors, and that's weird. We're not used to this. And so she thinks it's because of HARP and weather controllers somehow affecting the aurora borealis too.
No, it's because she's never left her fucking house.
And when people say HARP, that's a made up thing. Anyway, yeah.
Like I'm 45. Evening, Ronnie. Good to see you show up, Ronnie Grigg. You guys remember from last week's awesome episode.
Good to be here.
From the time I was very little, I grew up in a fairly dark place, and Mom and I would go outside because you know what you did when you're poor back in the 80s, and you got 2 channels on a black and white TVs. You went outside at night and looked at stuff. You looked at the Perside meteor showers. We'd put a blanket out, and Mom would make some hot chocolate, and we'd go lay outside and watch that kind of stuff. Right? I've been seeing Northern Lights my whole life. And it's hilarious to me. I've been a weather nerd since I was very young. Maybe that was part of it. No brothers and sisters, and stand around, look at the sky, nothing else to do, right? I get this where people are like, wow, you post a picture of some crazy cloud. Like there's some undulatus asperitas that was in Ottawa last weekend that was quite vibrant. And of course, everybody was like, conspiracy. It's like, I've seen those clouds dozens of times in my life. You haven't seen it because you don't go out and look outside, and you don't care, and you don't know, and you don't try to know. Here's the remnants of the hurricane right here. Doesn't look like it's going to be able to reform into a hurricane. It's a post-tropical storm now. It's done its thing. It's moved through Florida. It went through a crazy life cycle. It intensified from, it's like how fast can you go from 0 to 60? Like, oh, I can do that in less than a day and become one of the strongest storms ever measured in the Atlantic Basin, just like that. There's talk that we'll see another formation here amongst people, but I'm skeptical or hesitant to wager on that. I mean, the models show some disturbance there. I think last time it was a much clearer sign than we have this time, but we just had a Category 5 hurricane form up out of there like nothing. So, as the conditions just rectified, has it fixed the problem environmentally that caused the hurricane? Probably not. Do I know what kind of strength of hurricanes could come after that, or what frequency, or how easy? No. But the general ocean temperature, the sea temperature in the Gulf of Mexico is not that different still yet. Look at all this crazy moisture wrapping around this cyclone up here, and it's drawing up it's going to draw that hurricane, it looks like, the remains of it up and around, I would think, at some point. And I saw models before having it showing like that moisture hitting up into very northern places, in time. So we'll see about that. But there is a rainfall and wind warnings actually right now, and I would imagine it's for this part of Newfoundland. And no, sorry. Yes, that's correct. For the very northern tip of Labrador. That's going on. We do have a couple random frost warnings in southern Ontario. So that high pressure is delivering a lot of cold air down. That's helping keep that hurricane out to sea. That was nice. Last time for Helene, what happened was there was a light low pressure system up here. And what happens when you have a low pressure system? What's going on here is this guy's chasing this guy. That's what kind of hurricanes sort of do. They don't really have the wherewithal to move much on their own. They just sit there. If nothing moved them, there's always kind of something that tugs and pulls them a little bit, right? So last time in Helene, they had a low pressure system here, and it tugged it up into the Panhandle and up into Appalachia. And then the storm followed around the isobar, the pressure lines, and wrapped itself around it. So more kind of just stalled there and rained in one place. So maybe 18 inches of rain fell in Florida yesterday. It's some very powerful tornadoes. How many tornadoes, Brandon?
Oh, tornadoes. I'm gonna guess estimate around 19, 20 tornadoes. Yeah, about that.
Confirmed so far, and
Confirmed,
probably
yeah.
more on the drawing board, right?
There's some big ones too. I think yeah, a couple of wedges yesterday.
Did you see the guy driving his car down the road and a tornado just flipped his car like nothing?
Oh, I didn't see that video, but
Holy.
It was crazy.
You saw that one, eh, Hank?
Yeah, it happened very fast. Let me tell you.
oh yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
wasn't like, woo. It was just like, wham.
Yeah,
Like,
some of them you kind of see it coming. This one is like, holy shit! It came out of nowhere.
just, yeah, very fast. Like a matter of a split second, the guy's on his roof, right? And hopefully he was okay. I know some people were killed. I don't know exactly the details of who, where, and how much. You got a lot of meteorological details. I don't have much knowledge about the actual human impact, but I've seen lots of photos today of sand thrown up inshore. Apparently, Lieutenant Dan's okay.
That was south of Tampa there. They had pretty big storm surge. I'd say 8 to 10 meters at least. Yeah, the storm surge was about that. And yeah, it looks like Tampa avoided the storm surge. That's what Tampa would have looked like if they had the direct hit by the storm surge there with all the sand. And
it was very close.
it was pretty close. Oh, yeah.
And it's crazy. Close. That storm landed within 12 nautical miles of where the National Hurricane Center said it would go. And they said that, like, the week before it was even a hurricane.
Oh, yeah.
Like, well, this is probably its track, and it's probably going to go here if it forms. And they nailed it within 12 nautical miles. And then what are the conspiracy people? They're like, well, that's where they set them, they set the machine to destroy, pointed it there. That's why. That's why they knew.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, that's the pressure on that thing dropped pretty quickly, and it went to Cat 5 very fast. Like the other morning there, it was Category 3, and then the next hour is Cat 4, next hour Cat 5. So jumped to Cat 5 and from a tropical depression in very quick amount of time.
Unlike anything you generally see.
Oh yeah.
Like we see Cat 5 storms from time to time, and there's thousands of hurricanes that are documented in the historical record.
Yep.
This isn't a matter of, we've only got so many in the Atlantic basin to draw on, and we got hurricanes all over the world, and we got information going back hundreds of years in some cases. And especially back in the day when everyone's sailing boats around, they had a very good idea when they were in big trouble.
Can I ask something? I think you were posting about those dudes like in an airplane flying into it. That was remarkable footage, and like talk about data collection and stuff like that. That was pretty wild as well. Like is that going through a hurricane or trying to go above and
they punch right in?
Yeah, they did.
Wild.
Trying to get right into the eye wall there to collect the data, the pressure, all that stuff there. Kind of measure it to send the information back to the National Weather Service to say, hey, this is how strong it is. And then they determine what kind of category they're going to give it. So Cat 5, which is the highest on the scale. So that's what. Yeah, so it's pretty.
The P3 Orion's a very tough maritime aircraft. Evidently, that would be generally the same airplane as our CP-121 Auroras in the Canadian Air Force that we have in Comox and Greenwood, Newfoundland. Maritime and patrol aircraft. They generally, the militarized version would have high definition cameras, some weather instruments, of course, as well. Radar sometimes, right? Things like that. They'd have still kind of sick. A buoy you drop from the belly of the plane into the water that sonar pulse to look for submarines. Or I think they drop little buoys out, actually, I should say. And those buoys give sonar pulses to look for enemy submarines. And when we say enemy, obviously we're talking about Russian submarines that aren't necessarily our enemy, but who else is going to be driving submarines around off our coast? It's always the Russians. Well, it could be Mexico. No, it's not. Okay. There's a bigger picture right now. High pressure dominating a lot of the United States. Very nice for this band of precipitation moving across through what you would look like is going through the bottom part of Manitoba right now. So I don't know how that's going to affect Justin's viewing. Looks like he's got a little bit of cloud cover going on, right? Yeah. Some band of rain possibly through Winnipeg, but looks like that band goes right down through right near Brandon, Manitoba, and if not, sort of the cloud around. So maybe we will see Justin. Maybe he'll go look at the sky and be like, tonight's not my night. This kind of concerns me. I wasn't really expecting that. I was thinking it's supposed to go up the coast.
Oh, yeah.
I'd like it to do that. Not come inland.
Mm-hmm. Could see some significant rainfall totals out of that, though. Probably pushing. How much are we looking at here? We were looking at 90 to 150 millimeters for the north coast there. So it'll be a bit
really
of a
hoping
fire
that
hose.
It was kind of my forecasting sense yesterday. We'd see that bounce a little more right up the coast. I don't want to see this developing inland. It's not even fully dark here yet. I don't want to miss another Northern Lights show. And the way things are, just watching this, it's going to snow in Wells tonight.
Again.
Yeah. Yeah, for everybody who was not aware. But look at that, big high pressure H. What are you doing coming in, man? You're not supposed to. I told everyone you weren't coming in. Well, thank God only 1,300 people watched my video today. I mean, that's not bad. I mean, it's a band of moisture. What do you do? Really seems kind of errant in its location and its behavior. So can't nail them all, can I? This is
the
supposed
sky
to
cover up. The sky cover up still on? Is it truth or stories?
Still no cloud here in Wells, at least.
Because I see absolutely nothing in the sky right now.
Oh.
Just some stars. You ought to go.
I got a
have
report
look.
from Calgary that the aurora was out, but
Oh, you're not supposed to say anything about that.
No, there's no auroras.
Yeah,
the stars were out in Calgary.
I don't see any pink visible to my naked eye at all.
Yeah, do not tune out of the show yet. It's a long night, folks, and it's going to be a G4 or 5 storm. You got time. Wait till it's nice and dark out. That's kind of the picture right now. Not that exciting, is it? Again, some fog advisories up in the north. Here comes Frankie already. Is it that time? It is. Wow. We just motored through. I guess I just talked a long time about how mad conspiracies are making me, didn't I? Welcome to the show, everybody. And look, we got lots of people watching right now. Good. Thanks
Monica's
for all.
watching. Tell me if Monica's waving at me, I'll say, hi, Monica.
Hi, Monica. That's great. Yeah, I liked her pictures of the Northern Lights already out.
Hi, Monica. It's Frankie McDonald. Things are great so far on my side. I'm doing great so far.
Oh, here comes Imogen as well, right on. It's going to be great. Okay, I'm going to take 1 minute and then I'm going to start recording. Still a little sick. In fact, I'm ready if you're ready now. You ready, Frankie?
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, then. Good to see you, buddy. Hello, Prince George. Listeners at C4 88.7 FM and listeners at CKUW 95.9 Winnipeg. Listeners at 92.5 CFBX Kamloops and all you viewers on Rogers Television across Vancouver Isle. And this is the Meteorological Report. Comedy plus meteorology equals meteorology. It's your show about how much the weather sucks, okay? And I am your host, most excellent host indeed, Joey Only up here in the Caribou Mountain Country. Wells, British Columbia, sitting here at 3,935 feet above sea level, just hoping them clouds hang off a little bit longer because we're going to have an aurora show like none other tonight. Big topic of discussion tonight is going to be amongst all of us, of course, the aurora that's going on. For a lot of you, you're going to be watching this after the fact, so it won't be that exciting, but for the viewers who are watching right now on the live stream, there's going to be a fantastic aurora tonight. We are going to look back at all of Hurricane Milton's data and numbers and some of the stories we encountered as we go through the show. And of course, we're going to look at everybody's Thanksgiving forecasts. We got a whole panel of meteorologists right now. Of course, we got the legendary Frankie McDonald, the world's famous weatherman, who's the most totally great and my favorite. And I think he's just wonderful. Frankie McDonald, the world's best weatherman. Yes, he's here. As always, he'll be on very, very soon. Okay. Wait. I got more. We got Brandon Houck out there in Brooks, Alberta. He's the radio weatherman down there. New country radio station guy himself. He's a weather expert too. My good friend over there in Grassy Plains, not too far from me, by the way of Raven. He is Hilding Donaldson, the cowboy himself. Down over in Wilkie, Saskatchewan, standing outside the dark right now, hoping for a little bit of northern lights himself is Hank Vliestra, the storm chaser and reputable northern lights photographer. And last week's featured guest, my good friend Ronnie Grigg, is back down there from Vancouver. So we're going to have Ronnie on as well tonight. Going to have everybody. Going to be a great show. But enough of that nonsense talking. Time to get on with the most important thing of all. Frankie McDonald, how you doing so far, bud?
I'm doing great so far. It's cooler than normal in Nova Scotia right now. It's going to bring some rain in Nova Scotia this Saturday coming all the way from Hudson Bay. It's going to bring really hot weather to central states like Nebraska. This weekend coming Thursday. It's going to be upper level low next week and up across eastern Canada, Quebec, and eastern United States as well. It's going to bring lots of rain in Vancouver, British Columbia next week, in Seattle, Portland, all those places. It's going to bring some hot weather in western Canada. The rain's going to arrive on Thanksgiving Day in Vancouver. It's going to bring lots of rain next week in west coast of Canada and the cold temperatures as well. Snow over the mountains, including interior British Columbia. It's going to bring really hot weather in Southern California. It's going to bring some warm. It's going to bring really hot temperatures, warm air, cold air fighting each other. Then it got an upper level low in Labrador next week. Then it got another upper level low in British Columbia as well. Then it got really hot air heading towards Colorado, Montana, Idaho, and all those places in North Dakota, South Dakota, and Nebraska next week as well. Then it got some summer-like temperatures returning to central United States for a short period of time.
Hey, Frankie, I made a big mistake.
What?
I'm going to interrupt you for a second because as Imogen was coming on, it slipped my mind that she was coming on, and I did not introduce the producer of the show, television version, Image Cookie Bailey's as well, down in Victoria tonight. That's important, Frankie. Otherwise, she'll just pull our show off the air.
And the weather all across central states. And the weather all across central states is going to bring really hot temperatures in central United States as well next week as well. Summer-like temperatures. Then it got brief colder air. Long ways off yet next Saturday. Lots of rain and thunderstorms going on in Central America right now. Like Guatemala, Costa Rica, Honduras, El Salvador, Nigeria, and all those places. There's supposed to be a Pacific hurricane developing sometime next week possible. Lots of rain and thunderstorms going on in Panama right now. And down South America. Lots of rain and thunderstorms going on in Venezuela, Colombia, parts of Peru, parts of Bolivia, parts of Ecuador. In northern Chile is really, really dry right now. In southern Chile, a lot of snow up in the mountains and rain in coastal areas in Chile. Lots of thunderstorms and rain going on in southern Brazil, including Uruguay and parts of Argentina right now. Then it got some cold air in southern Argentina right now. It's southern hemisphere spring right now. Amazon rainforest is gradually getting into the rainy season now. They get a little bit of rain and forecast and thunderstorms up in Amazon rainforest because they're starting the rainy season soon there. In Colombia will be in lots of rain going on in Ghana and Nigeria and Africa right now. And weather all across Europe. It's been windy and rainy and snowy all across Finland, Sweden, and Norway and all those places right now. Then it got some more rain in England next week as well. Then it got some lots of rain and thunderstorms to the forecast in northern Italy. In Moscow, Russia, some flurries and cold rain in the forecast, including Belarus. In Ukraine, in the forecast for Ukraine, got cold air next week in Ukraine as well. And in Instantly Turkey, there's a little bit of showers. It's starting to get cooler in Turkey. It's really hot in Libya, Algeria, Morocco, and parts of Egypt. They got showers to forecast in Morocco this weekend coming. And weather in Japan, lots of cold, warm air. And it got really hot air in southern Japan. Then it got supposed to be lots of rain in the forecast in Philippines this weekend coming. Then it got some little bit of rain this week. It got a lot of rain in China and late next week in China. And for this weekend coming up, lots of rain in the forecast in Philippines, parts of Cambodia, Thailand, including Vietnam, Laos, Bangladesh, and Myanmar. There's a whole lot of thunderstorms rain in Indonesia right now because Indonesia is going to get into rainy season soon. And lots of rain in forecast in Philippines and over in places like Bangladesh and Myanmar and India. Lots of rain and thunderstorms in forecast in southern India. It's gradually dying off. India is getting into dry season in the end of the month. Rainy season's dying off. It's really dry in Pakistan, Afghanistan, Iran, Iraq, Syria. Lots of rain and thunderstorms in Indonesia right now. Parts of southern Sudan, Ethiopia, and all those places. In northern Africa, lots of rain and thunderstorms in Nigeria and Ghana, and all those places are parts of northern Congo, northern DR Congo, Uganda, Kenya, and all those places. As of right now, in southern Africa, lots of rain and thunderstorms still in the dry season in Botswana, and Mozambique's gradually getting in the rainy season. Got rain in the forecast next week in most parts of Mozambique and Madagascar, east coast of Madagascar, Africa, and Namibia and Angola. It's really dry right now. And La Rio and the Rentis, there's some showers in forecast there. In Australia, then in Perth, Australia, they got really hot air in there right now. It's really, really hot in Northern Australia. Northern Australia is going to be in a rainy season. And it's got some warm air and some thunderstorms in the forecast in Eastern Australia. Next week, it got some severe thunderstorms in the forecast in Eastern Australia. Chance of large hail and heavy rain. And possible tornado as well. Around October 14th. And weather down New Zealand and Southwest Pacific. Lots of cold air in New Zealand, in Australia, in Tasmania, or in Australia. They got cold air heading for New Zealand next week. Once again, they got snow in Queenstown, New Zealand, and rain in coastal areas of New Zealand as well. This is their spring. Invercargill, New Zealand, all those places got cold air right now. It's starting to get some daylight in Antarctica. It's starting to get some darkness down up in the Arctic as well.
Yeah, excellent, Frankie.
I'm going to show you the color changing lights.
Do it.
I'm doing it now.
He's got new lights that change color, everybody.
Ooh.
Changing colors.
Yes, meow.
There he goes. Oh, wow, Frankie.
Wow.
Blue, red. What's your favorite one?
They get relaxed colors and things like this.
Ah, the relaxed colors.
Those are the lights are changing colors.
Where did you get that from?
I bought it at a store.
It's like a light bulb itself, or is it an attachment to the lights? Or
can use a smartphone to operate it.
Ah, because I seen it was like actually your actual lights, like the fan hanging from your ceiling.
Yes, changing different colors. This is a Prairie light bulb that can change all different colors.
How many colors, Frankie?
Millions of colors.
Millions.
Change a bunch of different colors.
What color do you keep it on the most, Frankie?
Changing different colors right now.
It looks good.
Those lights are changing colors.
Purple now? Purple.
Dark blue.
Dark blue. I don't know. I'm a man. I can't tell. purple, blue. Well, there you go, Frankie. That's a lot of different colors. Millions of them even. You just sit around and like change colors for a while. And anyone got questions for color changing, Frankie?
And that's July. And that's Halloween color. The Antarctic Research Stations need one of them.
It would help them, be a little less bored.
That needs the Antarctic Research Stations like McMurdo Station and South Pole Station. They need one. I just sent a video to Mike Post.
Imogen, you got a question for Frankie this week?
Yes. So on our second moon right now, with your color changing lights, what color does it need to be to get the attention of the sharks that are hovering around and orbiting around that little secondary moon?
All different colors.
It's all different colors. Is there a pattern to it that gets their attention or what? Is it like a Morse code? Yeah.
Like a dark color, things like this. Like dark blue.
Ah, okay. So dark blue is what draws the space sharks out of orbit from our second moon. Perfect. All right, there you have it. You want to track sharks? Get Frankie to do a light show.
Well, I don't like sharks. I'm scared of them. That's why I
Sharks
don't go in the
awesome.
ocean. That's why I live at 4,000 feet above sharks.
I live at sea level, and I have a pet shark, and he is very cool. He's little, and he's awesome, and he's cute.
When it says ASL, 3,935 ASL, that means above shark level.
See, that's fair. If you need to avoid them, I guess. I bring them into my house. We're very
different. Fight sharks. I can fight bears. I can't fight sharks. Brandon, you got a question for Frankie? Ronnie, you got a question for Frankie? Hilding? Hank? Any questions?
I got a question. Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead, Brandon.
Okay. Frankie, have you seen the Northern Lights tonight?
Northern Lights are in Bonaventure, Quebec, not in Sydney, Nova Scotia. I did not see the Northern Lights. Monica Boyle saw to see them in Bonaventure, Quebec right now.
She had some great videos, didn't she?
And I'll say hi to Monica Boyle. She's doing great so far.
Hi, Monica Boyle, out there in Bonaventure, Quebec. I think that meteorologist Mark might be showing up, but meteorologist Chris Calais certainly, as it sounds like, about 20 minutes, 25 minutes time from now. A little bit of time. He's going to talk a lot about the hurricane, especially when he gets here. He's been to the exact place. He had photos yesterday of sitting on the sunset where the hurricane touched down. A landfall. Ronnie, you got a question for Frankie before we head on to Brandon?
Yeah, I'm just wondering, Frankie, it's Thanksgiving. Do you have a favorite kind of pie?
I like turkey. I like turkey and potatoes and carrots.
Yeah, me too. What about
broccoli? Because American Thanksgiving's not till November 28th.
That's right.
How many turkeys are you going to eat, Frankie?
Lots of turkeys.
Lots of turkeys. Yeah, I bet. Oh, that's the Frankie McDonald World Weather Report right now. We're going to head over to Brooks, Alberta to the Brandon Houck Report.
Oh, boy, the Brandon Houck. By the way, Brandon Houck just finished a bumbleberry pie just before the show here tonight, and it was phenomenal. Oh, yes. And I'm going to probably devour that thing this weekend, probably before even Thanksgiving week actually arrives. So
I like to buy big pies from the grocery store, and I eat half of it at a time. So
oh, yes.
That's supper tonight, a giant pie.
It's a giant pie for supper.
Yeah, there's like eggs and flour and fruit.
And pie. Pie is a standalone ingredient. That's all you need.
Oh, yeah.
Pie.
Pretty much.
Technically, it's got a lot of food groups in it.
Yeah.
And if you do it like Frankie, where it's a turkey pie, then it's all the food groups.
That's right.
Turkeys. And you know, the thing is, I don't need like a holiday to have cranberry sauce, Brandon.
No, you can have cranberry sauce all year long if you want.
Any meat, anytime. Cranberry's good with me.
Well, that's good.
Okay, Houck.
Okay. Well, let's talk about the weather scenario over the last, actually pretty quiet here in the prairies, especially here in Alberta this past week. And we have had incredible Aurora Borealis show earlier this week. We're getting another incredible show again tonight. It's already started. So that's where I'm going to go right after this Brandon Houck report, you know. But as I said, the weather front of things, we've had actually pretty fair weather with temperatures right above seasonal at times. Maybe it's just slightly below, but nothing too wild out here in the prairies. Maybe a couple showers here and there, and some areas even had a few lightning strikes the other day. They had a pretty nasty little gust front go through from Grand Prairie to Whitecourt with gusts up to 90 kilometers an hour and a few lightning strikes the other day. But that was about it for all of the active weather this past week on the prairie front of things. But the upper ridge of high pressure has been taken over the last few days. We are cooling off for a couple of more days here as we get towards the end of the week and into the start of the Thanksgiving long weekend. And then into next week for turkey time, we're going to be seeing temperatures approaching low to mid 20s by Monday there. So it's going to be a one-day event, but my goodness, we're going to see some pretty warm temperatures for October. So maybe Thanksgiving outside. Hey, how about that? But we're also going to have that strong blustery wind to go along with that as well. But other than that, it's going to stay dry. No sign of any precipitation in the next, at least next 5 to 10 days in our neck of the woods. All right. So because this was a fairly short weather report, well, we'll tell you what
I do want to ask you
things I've
about
learned
hurricanes.
this week. Oh, yes. Things that I've learned this week. So did you know Mountain Dew came up with a new logo just today? But don't worry, the contents will still taste like goat urine. And then finally, oh, yes, a town in Argentina is overrun by parrots. They asked what the parrots want, and they said they wanted crackers. There we go.
Yeah, fair enough. Brandon, what were your observations of the hurricane that really struck you this week?
Oh, the hurricane. Okay. So yeah, that hurricane, I'd say
Well, it didn't strike you, it struck Florida, but
yeah. Well, things with that hurricane this week when it came out of the I think it was part of a post-tropical system back in just on the other side of the Pacific there, then it worked its way across Mexico there and became that vicious storm and Milton there, and then went from tropical depression to Cat 5 in one day. And that was I'd say the most dramatic part of that whole storm was how fast it intensified in just 24 hours as it moved out into the warm waters of the Gulf of Mexico. And it could have been a lot worse than it was, but still quite a bit of damage, especially in the tornadoes that touched down that this thing developed as well. That's another thing, that tornado outbreak that developed, and they had at least, I'd say, close to near 20 tornadoes touching down there yesterday.
And that's not the same as 128 tornado warnings, just so people understand.
Oh, yeah. There are 133
one tornado can produce
warnings.
multiple warnings as it crosses boundaries.
Yeah.
You could have a warning for a tornado that does not touch down. But we have at least 20 confirmed. You're saying I heard up to 38, but I'm not sure.
20 to 30, somewhere in that ballpark there. But a few very significant ones. These ones look like ones that you'd see in Oklahoma out of Tornado Alley, out of Supercell thunderstorms. Not just the little spin up, the typical tornadoes that you get in hurricanes where you get these little spin ups and they just touch down briefly and then they quickly go away and you barely even see them. But these ones were just like the textbook supercell tornadoes that we even saw wedge tornadoes touching down in some neighborhoods in parts of Florida there, like Fort Myers, for example, had significant damage. And then up by just north of West Palm Beach there as well. And Cocoa Beach had significant damage. I think the mayor's house in Cocoa Beach got hit there. So it was a wild day yesterday on the tornado front before the hurricane even made landfall. So that's quite a scenario.
Yeah, we'll have lots to talk about. Chris Calais is going to be on here very shortly, so we will come back to this topic. Who do you want to send it to next, Brandon?
Oh boy. Well, I guess we shall chat with Ronnie there. Yeah.
Hey, Ronnie, how's things down in Vancouver this week?
This week today's been good. It's been, it's what's the date? October 10. It's kind of a perfect October day. It was nice and sunny, but the temperatures are starting to drop at night. I noticed last night it was down to 7 Celsius and tonight it's getting close to 9. So you feel it, right? It's not summer anymore. Yesterday though, it was deceivingly nice in the afternoon and I went out and within a moment, I got soaked. I got caught in the rain, and
yeah, a little thunderstorm came through there yesterday.
Yeah, that's right. There was thunder. There was, the rainfall with the atmospheric river type of rain. It's like it feels like you're getting soaked with a hose, that kind of rain.
Yeah.
It did that for the amount of time it took me to walk a block up Hastings Avenue, and I had rain dripping off my eyebrows. And then as quickly as it came in, it started to drizzle, and then it was gone. But it did rain overnight. There was shower, or I mean thunder, last night, and a bit of rain overnight. And it looks kind of like that similar kind of gray sunshine and gray fall weather until Monday through the weekend.
Yeah, well, we got a big warm up coming in southern BC the next bunch of days. Chris has shown up, and I'll get you to turn your camera sideways for the television profile there, Chris.
The other way?
There you go. Yeah. And you're standing outside, and so is Hank right now. And I do want to come back to you guys and get proper reports, but I just want to have a quick touch in. Hank and Chris, are you seeing northern lights right now? You're in Portland.
They're pretty faint, but yeah, a little bit of green to my northeast. Not too great yet, but it's kind of dusk. We still got a little bit of light to the west, so I think over the next hour it should look decent. We're kind of up against some high clouds moving in from the west, so we'll see if we can beat the timer on those and kind of see some northern lights between now and like maybe 10 p.m.
It's not very common you see northern lights in Portland.
No, we had them back in May. I think it was like May 14th, but that's the first time I've seen them in my life, and I'm 42, so.
And they're seeing them in Florida tonight.
Yep.
And this is like the picture I have in my mind is you're in the dark. You got no power. There's like 3 million people. I don't know what the status of how many people had their power restored yet today, but 3 million were without power this morning. So a lot. There's going to be people sitting there in the dark, and they're going to go outside for the first time in their life after having this crazy hurricane come through, look up and see the northern lights.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable.
Makes me think, what an amazing, fantastic, awesome planet.
Yeah, I hear you.
If I were them, I'd probably bawl if I seen that.
It's just an epic display here in Western Saskatchewan right now. I'm surprised Justin's not seeing it. We got orange, we got pink, we got red, we got bright green, and it's a very bright display, and it's in every single direction, north, east, south, and west. So it's very good.
I'd ask you to turn your camera sideways too, but it would just be dark blackness, but sideways.
Yeah, my phone ain't gonna pick them up, especially in video mode, but I'm getting camera photos.
Yeah, I'd like to know how Monica was getting those fantastic cell phone videos. Because I got multiple cell phones of different brands here. Which one will do that? I don't know.
She's on an iPhone 15, remember? She posted the information.
Oh, I didn't see it. No, I was listening to the Maple Leafs game for a little bit there. Sure. Hilding Donaldson, you got any plans to go out and look at the northern lights tonight?
It looks like the sky was all settled in, dark, heavy gray cloud so far. I'll check a little later, but last time I checked outside, it was just gray.
It looks like some precipitation is sneaking inland. It's sort of breaking through that high pressure and actually getting in it. I think I'm going to get clouded over here in Wells tonight. I don't believe it. Like, you're not supposed to do that, but it happens. Meteorologist Mark is showing up as well right now. We'll be talking to him about the hurricane very soon. Imogen, do you have the ability or plans to see the northern lights tonight down in Victoria? I think we lost her. Okay, she's not here right now. She probably ran to do something else. Cut that out. Well, without much further ado then, because Mark just showed up and Chris is here and you guys used to work together, so now I got two meteorologists, and I want to get the conversation happening a little bit about this hurricane this week and things that stood out to you. And I don't really care who wants to go first. This isn't like last week's show. We had a very focused guest. This is a classic meteorological report. Get down and dirty. Throw some nerd talk around and
okay. I mean, I'll jump in, I guess. I think the biggest crazy thing about this storm was just the path and the fact that it is so I'd say unprecedented, but we pulled up that storm from 1848, and that was eerily similar to this one. But just the path of it coming into Tampa, that part of Florida has always kind of been seen as the safer side of Florida. I vacationed down there in 2019, and that was one of the reasons I picked that side of Florida. So seeing a Category 3 hurricane put its sights on Tampa was pretty remarkable. Not only that, but how fast it intensified. So we went from a tropical storm to a Category 5 hurricane within about, I would say about 24 to 30 hours, which is unheard of. Like that was probably the rapidest intensification we've had on record, as far as I know. Went on to become the third, tied for the third strongest hurricane in the Atlantic Basin, and since records began, it's just all around a remarkable storm. The fact that it hit Category 5 for two separate occasions before coming ashore in Florida. Came ashore with a central pressure of 954 and a maximum sustained wind gust of maximum sustained winds of 120 miles an hour, which is Tampa's lucky it dodged
195 195k. Yeah.
So yeah. Thanks for interjecting there, Mark, with the metric. But yeah. So anyways, yeah, just remarkable storm. It took out the power at the airport, pretty quickly, especially at Sarasota. I think we got an observation at 9 p.m. and after that, it was pretty much nothing. Even this morning, there was no observations there, and they were pretty much in the center of the storm. I'd say but the eye was filled in well before that time. So hit Orlando with, I think I saw like about a 90 mile an hour gust, or roughly, I don't know, 130 kilometer an hour, 140 kilometer an hour gust at Orlando Airport, which is, a good 150 miles inland. So that's pretty remarkable in my book. So,
well, it's not quite that far inland, because in no point in Florida are you more than 60 miles from the ocean, or 100k. So,
okay, well,
I don't know where in Orlando the airport is, but the thing that stood out to me is the tornado outbreak that happened. I think Chris really well covered the trajectory of this storm. But the tornado outbreak was pretty remarkable. There were 126 tornado warnings issued by various weather service offices. That was a single day record for Florida. Of course, not every tornado warned storm produces a tornado, and some tornadoes get more than one warning. But these were large tornadoes, and that's not unheard of with tropical cyclones, but it is pretty unusual. These were large, fat wedges, long track tornadoes. Some of them, the traffic cameras. We learned, by the way, that Florida has the best traffic cameras for watching tornadoes. It's just that they never get the big tornadoes. So it was incredible. You'd see fat wedge crossing I-75, and then you look a couple minutes later and you got a fat wedge on the camera on I-95 near like Palm Beach, and or Palm Springs, and it was just incredible. One weather station in two counties north of Miami, but I forget what it's called, but still South Florida, recorded a wind gust of 148 kilometers an hour, and the note on that says that happened when a tornado was either at that location or very close to it. So it's not very often that we have a tornado strike near a weather station. So it'll be interesting to see the damage survey from that. Kind of what happened here. Sorry, I just had a tooth cleaning, and so my mouth is all weird. It was my first tooth cleaning in 8 years, because the cost of dental work in the US is outrageous. So we'll see if I can fight through this. What happened was tornadoes are formed in tropical cyclones because on the outer band, the lower level winds are not going the same direction as the upper level winds. They are slightly skewed, different from each other. We call this wind shear. That creates the rotation that you need to form supercell thunderstorms that have a rotating mesocyclone. That's the lowered base that you'll see in a big thunderstorm. And that's what will form a large tornado. Hurricane Milton was pretty ideally positioned. It had some dry air that it was pulling in on the south side. And it was enough to clear out that sector of the storm to have what we call discrete supercells. Discrete meaning that they are on their own. They're not like in a line They're not like embedded within heavier rain or something, discrete supercells. And so they were able to develop into a very dynamic fashion. Throughout South Florida, there were tornado reports in the Everglades and in the urban area, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, up to Jupiter, and Lake Okeechobee and Sarasota area also had tornadoes. The damage surveys haven't been done yet. Those will be done over the next couple of days. And this outbreak, while it was remarkable, it did not set a record for tornadoes. That was set in about 6 or 7 years ago, I think. A landfalling hurricane produced 120 tornadoes, but that was over the course of 3 days when it ran from Florida all the way up to Maryland. That's a lot of land. Whereas Hurricane Milton only crossed the Florida peninsula. It only had that small region to create tornadoes, and it was only on land for about a day versus, it was on land for about 12 hours, but its impact was on land for about a day.
Interacting.
Versus, right. Versus the 3 days that the hurricane a few years ago was on land. So, I don't know, maybe if there had been more land, well, for sure, if there had been more land, there would have been more tornadoes, but it doesn't matter if it's record breaking or not, like we've talked about with wildfires. It doesn't matter if it's a record. If it hits your house, that's a bad day for you. 3 million people are without power in Florida. Like that's just, or not 3 million people, 3 million customers are without power in Florida. If you're with your family or your roommate, you're only one power customer, but there may be 3 or 4 of you in your house. So that's pretty incredible. I talked to somebody near Orlando that they did not take damage, but they've been without power, and they hung up battery-powered Christmas lights to keep things going. So that's my style. You guys know I have my Halloween decorations up all the way last month. It was just an incredible storm. The landfall near Siesta Key, that's south of Tampa Bay, that made it so the storm surge did not come up into Tampa Bay. Remember, we were worried about a 5-meter storm surge. So Tampa was really spared. I mean, there's a lot of damage from the wind and the flooding, like the normal flooding, but we did not have the water in the bay.
Onshore flow was really all to the south, and then Tampa itself was experiencing offshore flow, which would have pushed the water away to a degree.
Right. And that guy that was in his boat in Tampa Bay, he survived. What are we calling him? Lieutenant Dan or something?
Lieutenant Dan.
That's right.
Jenny Hagen's even showing up now tonight. Yeah.
I want to say Lieutenant Dan had some serious Harry Truman vibes. Not the former U.S. president, but when Mount St. Helens was preparing to erupt, they evacuated the area around it. And this old dude that owned a lodge named Harry Truman, and his basic idea was like, well, my wife's already dead. I've lived so long on the mountain. If it goes, I'm going with it. And he did go with it, by the way. He did not survive.
I'm going to jump over to Jenny for a minute, but I'm going to leave a question for you guys to think about, meteorologists. 2 topics. So one is these hurricane hunters. People are very curious about the hurricane hunter, what they do with flying with the P3 Orion. And one of the questions I seen asked was, how can the airplane fly with the weight of those guys' giant anyways? And other question is, why would cloud seeding have no effect on a hurricane? Using physics, why it wouldn't work. So we'll come back to you guys with questions like that in a minute. Jenny, you're outside. Jenny Hagen out there in Saskatchewan. You're outside. You're probably seeing the lights. What's going on out there?
Oh, the lights took off there just after dark. So sitting out here taking some pictures.
What are you seeing?
There is a right overhead down south. It's just like surrounding you everywhere over here. So it is every direction.
Is that true, Hank?
Oh, that's very true.
Okay, good. We have
Hank's out shooting too.
Yeah. And even Chris is outside waiting to see. So you've seen a little bit there in Portland.
We've seen a little bit. I was thinking about hopping off here in a little bit to look at some more, but I'll hang in here for a little bit longer. But yeah, I'm down at the river, so I'm hoping that the wide open view will avail me a little bit, and I'll see some good northern lights over the next hour or so.
Talk to me about a hurricane hunter, Chris.
Well, basically, like, that's where how we get a lot of our intel on these storms. Like we only send out weather balloons about at right around 12Z and right around 0Z every day. So that's just twice a day. So in order to get more data, we fly these Hurricane Hunter aircrafts through the storm. Usually through the eye. They'll often drop what's called drop sondes into the eye of the storm. Those will capture wind speeds at different heights, temperatures, because obviously a hurricane's a warm core storm. So actually the warmest part of the storm is actually, especially aloft, is actually in the eye of the storm, rather than our typical cold core storms that we see with extratropical cyclones.
I just want to add real quick. Think of a drop sonde. Well, it is a weather balloon without the balloon. You literally just all the crap that's on a weather balloon, don't attach it to a balloon and then drop it out of an airplane. And that's a drop sonde. You're measuring going down instead of going up.
Exactly. You're choosing gravity to have essentially it falls roughly where you drop it at. But so essentially that Hurricane Hunters are our eyes into the storm before it hits land. Extremely important for accurate forecasting, including those advisories that go out every 3 hours or so from the NHC that usually has Hurricane Hunter data incorporated into it. So we would definitely have a lot worse forecast without those.
Yeah, you can even go on to tropicaltidbits.com and see. Hank, what do you got there?
There's a time lapse.
See it. Oh, there's Hank's time lapse. Okay,
man, those are some bright reds. Oh,
Isn't
sorry.
that crazy?
You got to say more, Hank, or the audience can't see it.
Yeah, just reds and greens, but it's more dominated by red than it is by green, which is really unusual. One more
I
time.
sent some pictures to the group chat.
This is looking west-northwest the last 15 minutes. So it's 15 minutes compressed into about 15 seconds.
Hoke's buggered off. His screen is blank. He's outside freaking out.
How is Jenny doing these days?
I'm wonderful. How's Frankie?
I'm doing great so far. Those scientists in Antarctic Research Station seats color changing light bulbs.
Oh, really?
He said them, yeah. Frankie, what was the worst hurricane you've seen of the ones that have hit Nova Scotia?
Fiona, 2022, knocked out power for a week. And a Wanda hit Halifax, Nova Scotia, September 2003.
It was amazing. And even though the power was out in Sydney, Nova Scotia, Frankie went to A&W and stole internet and was able to come on the show.
I was on a show and things like this.
Yeah, thanks to the A&W's Wi-Fi, eh, Frankie?
Nelson Peabody's doing great.
Is he? Good. Chris or Mark, so these airplanes fly into the hurricane. They're not dropping silver iodide. They're not cloud seeding. You mentioned yourself, it's a warm core storm.
Yeah. So I'll talk a little bit about cloud seeding and stuff, because cloud seeding does exist. It's regulated by the federal government in the U.S. I'm sure Canada has similar regulations. I saw
it's mostly used in Alberta to prevent a major hail outbreak from forming. Try to make the rain fall before it becomes
sure. Yeah, that makes sense. I saw a job posting at Idaho Power where the meteorologist would be working with the weather modification team to when there was a storm coming in, they would cloud seed near their reservoirs to get more snow so that it would fill the reservoir with the spring snowmelt. But that was only done with this in Alberta. That requires an already existing weather system. With this in Idaho, that requires an already existing weather system. And also, we're only talking about doing this on the scale of like tens of square kilometers, right? And even then, it's not very effective.
Less than 50%.
Right. Even on small scale stuff.
And in that 50%, you could argue it might have rained anyways,
or snowed, or but it's not very effective on small scales. And also, don't you think if the Liberals were controlling the weather, they would have taken out Mar-a-Lago like in 2016 when he was first elected?
That was
Like,
totally my point the whole time.
It just doesn't make sense. I think you posted that. Like, it doesn't make sense. And also, like, we can hardly predict the weather right 3 days in advance. How are we going to control it? We can't get astronauts off the space station in a timely fashion. How are we going to steer a hurricane? Like, it's just not possible.
Well, how many nuclear bombs a minute are going off? How many Hiroshimas are going off a minute, energy equivalent for a hurricane?
I don't know off the top of my head, but it's a lot, right?
It's a lot.
It's the
like
amount
a
of
small
energy.
hurricane, like your average one, you're talking like a Hiroshima every 3 seconds. That's a small
The amount
one.
of
you
energy.
go up to category 5, you're multiplying like the Richter scale to get up there energy wise, right?
Right. And it's funny to me because, like, you know, we are modifying the weather. We are making hurricanes worse. We are making floods worse. And we're doing it with climate change and fossil fuels. We're doing it slowly. We're doing it globally. And we are not doing it on specific weather systems. It is not possible for us to steer hurricanes. It's not possible for us to create hurricanes. The US government tried, you know, back when they were doing MK Ultra and all the other stuff. That brings me to my
next point is you can file a patent. So people have been sending me these, this is a patent for a weather modification machine. It's like, well, you can file a patent without it necessarily working.
Yes, that's exactly right. There are many, and the reason they do that, you pointed this out in the comment thread, the reason they do that is so that other companies don't steal that intellectual property before they take it to market, if they ever take it to market. And also, even if it does work, that doesn't mean that it's cost effective. You know, it may work, but it may cost 50% of America's GDP to do.
Chris Calais, I'm not sure if you've ever met Joe Stover in person. Joe, can I get you to turn your camera sideways?
Oh, I'm trying here. Let's see. Oh, there we go.
Joe has returned.
Joe has returned. Chris, you ever meet Joe before?
I don't think I've been on the show with him, no.
No, it's probably the first time. Probably the first time.
So, Joe, you're up in Churchill, Manitoba. What are you seeing there, bud?
I don't know if it's translating well through the camera, but the northern lights, I'm sure that's been discussed earlier, are just popping off. I'll probably have to send you guys a picture maybe to show a little later, but oh my goodness, yeah, it's just absolutely bananas.
Mark's about to bounce. Anyone got a question for Mark before he goes? I suppose not. Thanks for the great reporting, Mark.
Hey,
yeah, have a good evening.
He was at my house last weekend, so.
Yes, Chris made a dank roasted chicken.
Well, yeah, smoked chicken.
Smoked.
Dank.
Yeah. So I smoked two whole chickens on my smoker for like 5 hours.
Yes, and I showed up and I ate it.
Yeah, it was good.
It was nice.
I didn't even ask you how it was. So I'm
4 whole chickens and 4 pieces of white bread.
Yeah, so it was good.
Yes.
Did you get some of that dank dark meat?
Yes.
There you go. That's always the best. It takes on the smoke flavor a lot better than the white meat. So
followed it up with breast meat, if you know what I mean. Gotta
get those breasts, man. Yep. All right. Yep. Yeah, we had a fun little visit.
Joey's shaking his head at me.
Because Imogen's not here to shake it at me.
And I sent you videos about the Hurricane Milton color changing like popes.
Yeah, Frankie changed it. And I haven't even pulled up all of Frankie's amazing videos this week, so I better do that quickly. And who's got something to talk about here in a minute while I go to work here getting Frankie ready? I'm supposed to be like the one asking you questions. I'm like, no, that's not a question. You got something to talk about? That's a terrible question. But I've been getting there's been people getting death threats, weather people, right? And I had this like explosion this week where it seemed like my emails, my Facebook, my Messenger, my YouTube channel was just getting flooded by these, in some cases, people using very violent and offensive language. You know, things I don't want to repeat. And there's not much I wouldn't say. Things that I'm like, whoa, that is Nazi.
It kind of makes Joey, it kind of makes me happy that I'm not a public facing meteorologist, because, you know, the TV guys, the weather service, Environment Canada, whatnot. Those are the ones that are really seem to be taking the brunt of this at this point. The ones that are kind of dealing with the public, because that's a pretty thankless job, in a lot of ways. But with all these conspiracies going around, whatnot, like they seem to be gaining a lot of traction, and that's potentially going to result in some bad implications for some of us who happen to be around the public. I mean, I can imagine a meteorologist there on site in Florida getting like accosted by some angry person thinking that they have some insider information about, weather modification or something, or like making hurricanes or whatnot, So I think.
Well, how ridiculous is it when you're like,
well, of course, that goes.
I'm an expert on clouds, man. Why are you threatening to kill me?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I think the world's a lot worse off without meteorologists. And,
like of all the people, it's like so backwards.
Yeah.
It's so like
backwards. We're just trying to let you know if you need an umbrella today, and like freaking, if you should stay home because the weather's gonna be bad. Like we're not your enemy,
Weather
I saw
burst out in people. It is absolutely crazy, and it's just getting worse and worse, especially with the conspiracy theorists on everything from aurora to like the late season tornadoes we had in Saskatchewan. It's everybody's got a conspiracy theory, it seems, nowadays.
I don't. Except, I got a couple. But they're very reasonable. They're not conspiracy theories per se. They're examples of conspiratorial behavior happening that's very public and obvious. Say, ExxonMobil, who's known since 1971 that climate change was going to happen. And they modeled it with precision and then spent billions to cover it up. So that you could sit there and say, you guys are changing the weather. Let's kill that guy. He's smart. He knows math. Kill him. Like it just blows my mind how you can come to the exact opposite result. Joe, what are you seeing right now? What are you seeing right now in Churchill? And we haven't talked to you in so long. Tell us about how life's been for a minute, Joe.
Well, it's been good. It's been good. Polar bear season has arrived, and with it, a whole bunch of people who right now are looking at one of probably the show of their lifetime with the Northern Lights that are out right now. This is just absolutely ridiculous. And I've been here since 1987. I've seen some great Northern Lights, but this one is pretty darn well near the top if it ain't at the top.
And then you only had a minute to meet Chris, but he is going to go get some supper now. He's been working all day and he just got home.
And what about the lights? And what about the videos?
And that's coming up right next, Frankie.
So what's the closest you've ever gotten to a polar bear?
Inside a vehicle, I guess window to face. Outside a vehicle, 3 feet. Yeah, it was.
That's a little too close.
Little too close. That was quite a while ago, but I'll tell that story another day because Joey only got so much time.
That's true. We got time still after we finish the live. We still got the live stream going on after. For those of you who are watching the television and the radio, you can always tune in Thursday nights at 6:30, 7 or so, and catch at Joey Only Careby Weather Dude YouTube channel the show. Thanks so much for coming, Chris. Really appreciate having you on. I know you're very busy, working 12 hours at times and working night shifts at times. Both you and Mark, the meteorologist, work long hours. And he was doing tedious things today that I wouldn't want to be doing, like computer programming nonsense. That is thankless work. Frankie, are you ready for some Frankie McDonald videos?
I'm ready
for
you guys. Videos.
I'm ready too. It's my favorite part. Okay, guys, I gotta set it up. Give me 1 minute. Oh, Hauk, you're back. Good.
Hey everybody, it's Frankie McDonald. Those people in Antarctic Research Station need to light bulbs that can change millions of different colors. It's a great idea for people in Antarctica and Antarctic Research Station, especially in McMurdo Station and Amundsen Scott South Pole Station. For people that the scientists head down to Antarctica and research people head down to Antarctica to do research work, they need color changing lights that can change a lot of different colors, including LED lights down Antarctic Research Stations that can have changes the colors to millions and millions and millions of different colors for Antarctic research stations to change colors down Antarctic research stations for people doing the research stations and things like this. They need lights that can change a lot of different colors, millions of different colors down in Antarctic research stations. That's a great idea for people down in Antarctica, especially research stations in Antarctica. Inside the research stations, you need lights to change a lot of different colors, millions of different colors. That's a great idea for scientists and research people to go down to Antarctica every year for Frank McDonald.
This is beautiful, Frankie.
This is Frankie McDonald, my own TV station live from Sydney, Nova Scotia. Here's my Hurricane Milton updates for Florida on Wednesday, October 9, 2024. And winds are going to be even more powerful. And winds may gust up to over 200 miles per hour winds. And the rain's going to be over 300 plus millimeters, including Tampa, Florida, and surrounding areas. It's going to bring gigantic waves crashing on beaches and shores. Winds are going to be so devastating, that's going to cause catastrophic power outages in Florida, especially in Tampa, Florida, and surrounding areas. It's going to bring total damage to buildings. It's going to destroy buildings, destroy beaches and shores of Florida, and may do a lot of damage to beaches in Florida as well. Winds are going to be really powerful. That could bring down power lines and snap tree branches in half. I urge everyone to evacuate the area. Be prepared. Make sure you have your rubber boots, raincoats, ready, have your boats ready. Have your medical kits ready, emergency kits ready, flashlights, candles, crank up radio, extra batteries, generators, battery operated electricity, and bottle water ready as well. Stay away from the beaches and don't go near the shores, because winds are going to be mighty powerful in Florida. It's going to cause sewers to back up the streets. It will cause massive flooding in Florida, including Tampa, Florida, and the surrounding areas as well in Orlando, Florida. It may do a lot of destruction. Winds are going to be really powerful in Florida as well. It may do a lot of power outages. It may destroy buildings as well. If you have anybody living in Florida, be prepared for Hurricane Milton on Wednesday, October 9th, 2024. Take care, stay safe. Don't get caught in Hurricane Milton. Stay dry and be safe.
What about you got that one right, Frankie.
Hey everybody, I gotta show you something. Here's the light bulb. It changes a lot of different colors.
Someone send this thing to Antarctica. There you go. Is it orange? They need these lights in Antarctica. You know why they need lights in Antarctica, Frankie? It's like dark 24/7 sometimes there.
The light bulb is changing colors.
Different colors. What's your favorite color, Frankie? Look at all those colors.
These light bulbs change all different colors.
To Antarctica. Maybe they should send these to Florida too. There's no lights in a lot of people. There's like 3 million customers without lights.
Changes a lot of different colors.
They could use those lights, Frankie. What do you guys think? What's your favorite color?
Blue, faux show.
I like that nice orange.
Changes a whole different colors. There's millions and millions of colors.
I'm definitely a blue light kind of guy.
I like how happy it makes Frankie.
Me too.
These light bulbs can change all different colors. A lot of different colors.
And I thought your forecast was awesome this week, Frankie. Your Milton one. Love when you're just yelling like, take no prisoners. It may cause
changes a lot of different colors.
A lot of different colors. You can see you got a big smile there. Grin. Each time he switches the color of light. Every 3 seconds got a new color of light there.
A whole lot of colors on these light bulbs.
You ever seen so many colors, Joe?
I don't think so. This is a lot. This is a lot of colors.
Millions of them, Joe.
Millions of different colors.
It must cost like $1 million.
I'm Frankie McDonald.
I love that video.
Antarctica and people and out down in Antarctica and people up north needs the color changing lights.
We have 3 extra minutes tonight. We're going to go to 8:03 to fill time, so everyone knows. Last words on tonight's show. Brandon, what did you see when you're out there looking at the Northern Lights tonight?
Oh boy, the sky is completely, especially partially pink. We've got some purples going on. You got a little bit of red, green right to the bottom there. It's pretty incredible out there. Wow.
Hank, what are you seeing out there right now in Wilkie? Jenny's gone quiet, so she is totally taken in by whatever's happening.
Switching my camera around.
I got it mostly in the north now. There's a lull in the southern sky, but they're still very bright and tall towers, tall pillars of northern lights.
Tall towers,
Yep.
Jenny? You're going to have to say something so the audience can...
There's a little bit of towers going on.
Beautiful.
It's
That's beautiful.
I'll steal a bunch of these photos out of the group chat and throw them in to the final product when I make it tomorrow.
And it's a mixture of red and green still, to my north anyway.
Hey, thanks, Happy Paddler, for the super. And in the live chat saying, hope I get outside and have a look. And I'm really hoping that because we've had some clouds pushing in, maybe a little bit of showers that I suggested wouldn't happen in my forecast, which I released at about midnight last night. I said the high should steer it kind of away from this part of the interior. And no, that's not what seems to be happening. So I'm concerned that, but still nothing on radar showing up in the Caribou. So I think I got some time, a little bit of interference maybe, but nothing substantial. And it's been like the last 20 days has been dark and miserable here, like cloudy, raining. Wonderful. So you have been listening to the show on C for 88.7 FM, CKUW 95.9, CFBX 92.5. That's in Prince George, Winnipeg, and Kamloops. And you've been seeing us on Rogers Television outlets. Thank you, Rogers Television, for having us on. Maybe you're watching us on the live stream on Joey Only Caribou Weather Dude YouTube channel, or catching the final product there as well.
If you want to follow me on social media, my blue sky is at Frankie McD. My ex formerly known as Twitter is at Frankie McD. My link tree is Frankie McDonald. My Facebook is Frankie McDonald. My Instagram is Frankie McD94. My TikTok is FrankDo94. My Clap is FrankDo94. My Twitch is FrankDo94. My Snapchat is Frankie MECDON. My YouTube channel is Dogs and Wolves. And my LinkedIn is Frankie McDonald. Best luck to you. I'm Frank Do. You're listening to the Meteorological Weather Report every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Atlantic.
This has been a really good show. Like I really enjoy these ones when there's so many of you here you panelists that I'm struggling to know who to talk to next without, and starting to feel guilty. Like, wow, I haven't said hi to Ronnie for a while here on the show. And, and it was just everybody, and it just naturally unfolds. And it's like an effortless show like that, and just thanks all you guys for being here. We had Chris Calais and meteorologist Mark Ingalls, of course, ingalls.wx.com, talk about the hurricane tonight. We had Ronnie check in from Vancouver once again. Totally love you, buddy. Jenny Hagen, who's so wonderful out there in Saskatchewan. She's also, Hank just signed off as well. He's gone. He's in Northern Lights heaven. And I'm hoping to get my chance to. Joe Stover, who I haven't seen in so long. And you're just awesome, buddy. Like, it's always so good to have your happy, enthusiastic personality, and the way, you have this sort of like, bring everyone together community spirit about you that Churchill really benefits from having. And we have benefit from having when you're here in the show, and your friendship with Frankie, it matters to us. Brandon Hauk, who, we've done now, 140 shows or something together, right? Like we've been.
Oh, yes.
And then that's not even the times that we get together on live streams because there's a tornado outbreak in Saskatchewan or something like that sometimes, or the side episodes that Mark and I have made about earthquakes right? You know, and Hilding Donaldson, who I've known already for a long time, right? And I know you, man. And when you were here, I guess it was 2 springs ago, and we went out to the mountains and watched the Northern Lights together, and I was thinking about going out to that same place. I found a spot further up the road where it opens up and you get an even better view of the Bowron.
That's the show.
We got a minute and a half still, Frankie, of time to make up. But that is almost the show. That's almost the show. And that's Frankie McDonald. He's the star of the show. And when Frankie says that's the show, I mean, you can go if you want. You know what I got to do, though, for now on, Frankie, is I got to say thanks for coming on, Frankie. And I want to say goodbye, because every time, I know how you are. As soon as you don't do goodbyes. And as soon as the recording stops, Frankie's off to do his next thing. But here's our chance, everyone. We can say goodbye to Frankie for a change.
See you later, Frankie.
See you later, guys.
Bye, Frankie.
Those lights, Frankie.
Bye, Frankie. So glad to, and he's gone. That's enough, Frankie said.
That
Joe's
puff of
gone
smoke.
too.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that's the show. Right.
You almost had me inside a hole. I'm walking across that old abandoned farmyard, and I just about fell in a hole while I was walking around.
My,
you guys would have sent a rescue crew, right?
I'm not sure. I'm glad that I didn't actually have to have this dilemma between because it's a comedy meteorology report between laughing and concern. Is whether people and this is what Jenny was saying, whether people are concerned, right? And that's why you think, well, a bunch of liberal weirdos with bleeding hearts, and well, yeah, we hate seeing people suffer.
Tapping
and
in
we know
holes.
something, and we want to share that so that maybe it helps somebody. That's what we're trying to do. That's the show for this week, everybody. Thanks.